Here's the thing. Sometimes life will hand us an impossible situation. It seems like no solution is possible. So this is when to turn to the whole idea of a koan, K-O-A-N. Now, in the Eastern tradition, the koan was a question put to spiritual students to basically kill their ego, to kill their intellect, because the answer, there is no answer. It's like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Well, what is the sound? There isn't any. So the questions always are impossible in some way. And what the teacher looked for was an answer coming that came from the student's soul. So where the student had bypassed the usual reasonable, logical mind, and the answer had come from deep within the heart. And that answer would be validated by the teacher. So if a student said, it was asked, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And if a student had really listened and tapped into the truth, and they came up with an answer, say, like a rose, the teacher would hear the authenticity and validate it. But supposing another student overheard this, and he or she came up afterwards and was asked this question, and they trotted forward the answer that had got approved previously, rose, because that hadn't come from their soul, it was in this case corrupt, the teacher would have rejected it. You see, so the answer to koans is, the only right answer is one that comes from the soul. So same in life sometimes. Sometimes we are just given impossible situations that there seems no way out, no possibility of survival even. But if we open up to something beyond us to answer, it's the same principle that occurs in miracle cures, or if somebody's in an accident and it was thought that they would be way more damaged as a result of their physical injuries, but maybe they heal really fast and avoid what would be the normal expected cost of whatever happened to them. There's even been cases where, the brain damage healed just overnight. If the answer comes from the soul, it is invincible. If that soul wants that person up and physically healthy, that person will be brought up to physical health, even if there's been a terrible injury. And I watched this with my son, who had a terminal diagnosis of leukemia. I mean, he was dying. His blood count was 60,000, white cell count. You could see through his skin almost. He was so white, he just sat. He was a small child. He just sat and didn't move. And over 3 years, a woman named Ȯlga, who's passed on now, sent love to him. And over that time, he healed. So it was like getting a koan. My son had this impossible, incurable diagnosis, and he healed. So I just remember the principle that a koan is a